Hey guys, welcome to Thrive Bites Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Colin Zhu, and thank you so much for listening on. You could have been anywhere in the world and you decided to spend just a few moments of your precious time, and we greatly appreciate it. Here on the podcast, we talk about three things: living a plant-powered lifestyle, and enhancing emotional resilience, and creating a thriving mindset. And I interview a range of passionate guests such as physicians, dietitians, coaches, entrepreneurs, and many more. And please join me as I deliver these engaging, informative, and high-valued conversations for you. And just remember, the first 5 seasons of the Thrive Bites podcast can now be found in the new TheChefDoc app, available in your Apple Store and Google Play stores. So what are you waiting for? Come on inside. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Thrive Bites Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Colin Zhu, and I am joined by Sally Malanga. We talk everything about vegan skincare, the industry, the hidden industry behind animal testing, and the conventional line of skincare, as well as what she has created as a vegan alternative broth to animal bone broth. So you don't want to miss this. It's a wonderful conversation, and I'll see you guys inside. Okay, guys. Well, welcome to another episode of Thrive Bites Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Colin Zhu, and thank you so much for coming on. You could have been anywhere in the world, and you decided to spend your precious moments with us today, and we greatly appreciate it. What we have on the show, I'm super excited. I had the lovely chance and opportunity to meet her in person. And so her name is Sally Malanga, and she is the founder of Ecco and Boon for All. And she is a guiding force for advocacy for people, animals, and the planet. And she blends it in a way with entrepreneurship. She is the product formulator and strategist for the brand Side by Side and has a fabulous team as well. She's also the board member of Friends of Animals of Darien, Connecticut, New Jersey Sustainable Business Council, and our Green West Orange. She's an active public advocate for the environment. I can't wait to talk to her more about it because we talk a lot about an environment here on the show. And the overall brand's mission is to help women and men realize their full potential in beauty, wellness, and self-esteem while respecting every living being's right to happiness. Their brand makes vegan science-based skincare and supplements that are good for you and the planet while leaving animals in peace. And we are delighted to have her join the new vegan economy, which will bring climate change back into balance. So without further ado, please welcome Sally. Hello.
I'm very happy to be with you, Dr. Colin, and also your wonderful listeners.
Thank you so much for taking the time out to be with us on the show. Tell us where you're calling from.
I am here in the middle of my house deep in West Orange, New Jersey, the home of Thomas Edison's original laboratories, battery building, the invention of the phonograph and the light bulb. And so it's the home of invention. So it's appropriate for the vegan economy, isn't it?
Yes. And I love how we're starting off with that fun fact. So Thomas Edison and all the great predecessors like him is definitely what sets the stage. And for this show, we have a beautiful opportunity to have interviewed a lot of great trailblazers, and you are one yourself. So let's get straight into it. So I like to talk about the superheroine story, the origin story, the story how from one person goes from point A to point B. So for you, you're the founder of these companies. I would like to know, was there a pivotal moment, a light bulb moment, or was there a series of moments that led you to find these companies and the whole why of them?
Yes, it's always a gradual process, but you know what? It occurs to me since we brought up Thomas Edison that I have to mention he had the worst diet ever. He lived on milk. He worked 20 hours a day, and he ultimately passed away of diabetes. Yeah, so he, as brilliant as he was in electronics, he was not knowledgeable about what he was eating and what it was doing to his health. So just another tidbit. We don't want to follow his example. So what I'd like to share is in response to your question about my experience, is that I was an early volunteer at Friends of Animals. I met a woman who was extremely courageous, who snuck a video camera into the laboratories of a major personal care company. And she filmed how they tested products on animals. And we decided, the two of us, that we would start a campaign to stop this. And we were going to go to the consumers and tell them what was going on behind the scenes, because consumers would really care about this. So we set up the tables in the mall. We were very grassroots. We had big postcards with pictures of bunny rabbits on them. Many people stepped up to our table and they signed the postcard. We stamped it and we sent it to that company. Simultaneously, other animal rights groups were also doing the same thing. So it became a big nationwide, worldwide brouhaha of exposés of big, famous personal care companies, and consumers didn't like it. So I thought about it further and I said, well, I want to look at it from the other perspective, which is from the entrepreneur's perspective. If consumers don't want to buy from these companies, who will they buy from? Well, I'll start a company that proclaims as its mission that we will not test products on animals. And that's what I did. And that's the beginning of Ecco Bello, which means behold beautiful, because our customers are beautiful and they don't want chemicals on them and they don't want animals harmed.
Awesome. Awesome. And for yourself, when did this compassion for animals start? Did it start for you at a very early age, or did something that you've, witnessed that caused you to say, hey, I want to change up my lifestyle and not be able to exploit animals?
We eat what our parents eat, and we don't think about it when we're kids. And so when I meet a kid or a teenager who doesn't eat animals, I consider them very courageous. They're able to stand up to family and cultural pressures and do the right thing. I was not that person. I ate what my family ate, which was buckets of fried chicken, hamburgers on the grill, big milkshakes. I mean, we had what was the most fun diet, and clearly, looking back on it, the worst thing that we all could have been doing. So my journey was more gradual. One day, when I was about 16, I just coincidentally grabbed a book off my father's massive bookshelves, and it was Upton Sinclair's The Jungle. And it was written around 1906, talked about the stockyards where cows were kept. I'll never forget, the descriptions, blood running down the sidewalks. It was very primitive. And today, the way that meat is processed and packed and sold is not much different. There's tremendous animal abuse and there's tremendous worker abuse. And of course, there's tremendous environmental abuse. So that put the little question mark in my young head. Well, we're having all this fun, eating all these things, stopping at this ice cream place, and we're, going to this restaurant. It's all social and it's fun, but what's this? What else is going on here that I don't know about? And so finally, when I was a little bit older and I watched my Uncle Matthew eat all the fat from the Peking duck at the Peking duck house, I said, that's it, I'm done. And so at the same time, our organization, Friends of Animals, was busy pulling all the milk and cheese and everything, the coffee creamer out of the refrigerator, because, back then, which I call BVC, is when I finally became a vegan, before vegan cheese. We didn't realize what was going on. It was so well hidden. The dairy industry is very, very quiet about what really goes on there, and they cover it up with lots of cute advertising and scientific studies, which are not true. So that's kind of just the rough outline of the journey. But even then, I can relate to people who take a while to get to veganism.
Mm.
Even for me, I decided at one point as my excuse, well, I'm going to eat what bears eat. They're a really nice animal. They're primarily vegetarians. They're a little bit opportunistic, but they eat, skunk cabbage and berries and honey and things like that. They're primarily, and they're big and strong. I'm going to eat what they eat because they know how to fish and they'll catch a salmon, and that's okay with me. And then I learned that fishermen mistreat what they consider competitors. They mistreat the sea lions to keep them away from the seafood catch, the fish catch. And they dump all their plastic gear in the ocean. And I realized, again, I said, I don't want to do business with these people. And I framed it in a business way. I don't want to buy their products anymore. So fish is done. I'm done with it. I'm not buying any product from anybody who abuses any animal. And that was it. I gave up fish. That's what motivates me, is to do the right thing, both for my health, for the animals, and the right thing for business.
Yeah, thank you. And I can see how it's very profound and it touches you in a certain way that, you've kind of lived this kind of life. And I think that nothing is really learned until we experience it, are aware of it, we process it, and we can decide from this day forward, because the present moment is really all we have. What are we going to do next? What are we going to do different? How am I going to go about this in a better way that doesn't have to compromise others, right? Because at the end of the day, it's really about for our taste buds, right? For that singular, brief, super, super brief moment of appeasing our taste buds. Animals have to be exploited, have to live in very harsh environments for pretty much their life, for their entire lifetimes, and pretty much prematurely ended when they could have lived longer just for our taste buds. And so, like yourself, Sally, I do meet as a family physician, a trained family physician and a primary care physician. We're trained to really meet people where everywhere is at, so I understand everyone's journey and story. And people come into awareness at different points in their lives, and something happens for them to either go on a healthier path or stay the course. And our job, what you've created, which we'll get more into later, and my job is really helping people be aware and educated and informed so they can make better informed decisions along the spectrum of healthy living. So thank you for sharing that, story. I know it's very emotional, but at the same time, if I may, if it weren't for those experiences, you wouldn't have come to create what you have created and create this beautiful tapestry that you are, sharing with us. So my next question for you is going further into your company. It's, I noticed that you've created a vegan, broth brand. You've also created skincare. What came first? Did the skincare come first, or did the broth brand first or later?
What came first was actually color cosmetics. And those products were of great interest to consumers because, as I like to say, our consumers do not want chemicals on their bodies or animals harmed. Those are our customers. And so it came to our understanding that there's heavy metals in color cosmetics. There's a lot of chemicals in them. And so I had to revamp all the formulas. I'm kind of an inventor, formulator at heart. And, like a good chef in the best vegan restaurant, they want the best ingredients for every dish that they serve to a customer because it reflects on who they are.
Mm-hmm.
It's their reputation. It's their karma, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
So I re-engineered many of the standard products, getting rid of the dyes and getting rid of the preservatives that were harmful, sourcing out new ones. It took a lot of research, but we accomplished it. And so that's where the company started with those kinds of products. But soon I realized, the skincare products were important too. People are, putting creams all over their bodies, and the skin is the largest organ. It's an elimination organ. It's very important. It's regulating our temperature. It's regulating infection, and it's letting go of toxins. So it's very important what we put on our skin. And I realize a lot of skincare products were not made very well. They're made to be very inexpensive to the manufacturer, but then of course they put them in fancy jars and charge a lot of money for products that are really not that great. But I can see that when I read formulas, so I know what's a good product and what isn't. Most consumers have no idea, and they can pick up the wrong ones, and it happens all the time. So I like to say, don't buy the cheapest ones and don't buy the most expensive ones. Both ways doesn't work because these products are not regulated. They can't really make claims. If they do, they become drugs. So they can only really function topically. But I have
Is this similar to like the supplement company where it's not, because you don't have this regulating body, these companies have just free will to just, advertise whatever they can. Can you share, because obviously beauty and skincare is a huge industry, can you give us some common examples of ingredients or words of how things are advertised to quote unquote, lure customers in? And what are the, effects, that you've researched over time?
Well, I want to go back to your comment about supplement companies. And no, I don't think supplement companies do that to consumers. I think supplement companies, by and large, put what they say they're going to put into the product. What's on the label is in the product. Sometimes they make mistakes. I think there's always outliers who, are bad people who do bad things and adulterate, but all the good supplement companies are, they're very concerned and they're very careful about what they put in the products. So I feel that that's important for people to understand. Skincare, on the other hand, is more loose because you don't have to put specific quantities of ingredients to match your label. It's more generalized. I'll give you one example of where it's kind of the reverse idea, and that's SPF sunscreens. Those actually became an over-the-counter drug. And actually, during the time that I had started my company, at first sunscreens were, you put in a certain amount of sunblock. It could be a chemical sunblock or it could be a physical sunblock like zinc oxide or titanium dioxide, which is what we use. I don't feel comfortable putting, a lot of chemicals on the skin. And of course, there was huge campaigns that, we're all getting skin cancer. We have to coat ourselves with this stuff. And even I fell into it thinking, oh my God, I'm going to get skin cancer. My husband's going to get skin cancer. We do have to cover ourselves up, but not with chemicals. I absolutely refuse to do that. But zinc oxide, titanium dioxide, those are inert and they do block the sun. However, if something's a drug, it really has to show efficacy. But how is it really possible for an individual to know the exact dosage of a cream to put on their bodies and when it's going to be washed off when they go for a swim, and then how much more to put on. And there's no test to tell you if you've got enough on. There's no test to tell you if you're about to have a terrible allergic reaction. There's no test to tell you if some of these sunscreen chemicals are going into your skin. So I reversed my feelings, and I said, well, we need to create vitamin D from sunshine. So we actually do need to get 20 minutes or so sun every couple of days. And now that, seeing people spray all this stuff on their kids, and we really ought not to be in the sun for hours and hours. That's the wrong thing to be doing. If you're out boating, and yes, I do know someone who's out boating all the time, not wearing a shirt, and got skin cancer, and skin cancer is extremely dangerous. So I think that it's important to know what to do at the right time. And that's what I advocate.
Hey guys, what's going on? This is Dr. Colin Zhu, and thank you so much for hopping on to this week's episode. Guys, it's 2024. What is your intention for this year? Who do you want to become, and how do you want to feel? Some of the things that you might be, looking to do is to lose weight. Some of you guys want to get out of your family history and genetics and not play victim to your medical and health destiny. Well, I'm here to tell you that it's very, very important to kind of look at some facts and figures. For weight loss, 71% of Americans are overweight and 40% are considered and classified as obese. And these numbers are continuously rising. A lot of these are associated with a lot of medical issues: arthritis, gallstone issues, heart disease, cholesterol, diabetes, cancer, and the list goes on. And also having and carrying extra weight increases your risk for COVID. Also, in terms of chronic disease, 60% of Americans carry one chronic disease, 40% two or more. Whenever I get a patient, it's usually a laundry list of medications that they are taking at the same time. Guys, if you are looking for a different and alternative solution, I've created a solution for you guys, and that's in the form of group coaching. If you want to be coached by us, Dr. Zhu, and our team members, me and my team, I've set up a beautiful 12-week, 3-month program that's going to be led by your own respective group coach, also led by me teaching you expert classes, and we teach you on what to eat, how to shop, what recipes to go for, where to navigate the supermarket, your pantry, your kitchen, and learning all about sustainable strategies on losing weight and preventing chronic disease. So if you want to learn more, click on the link below, and we would love to set up a breakthrough call with you guys to see if we are a mutual fit. And I want to be able to cheerlead and advocate you guys and be a support for your wellness journey. So click on the link, schedule a call, and hear about our bonuses that we have in store for you guys. So we'll see you guys on the next one, and enjoy the rest of this episode. Going back to the typical conventional skincare products, you've mentioned about the harmful testing. Just what have you found in terms of just the products themselves? Because they don't go through this type of testing, there's no way for them to go through this testing. What have you found in terms of, we've mentioned harmful heavy metals, right? We've mentioned how the skin is our largest organs. Are there other things that we need to pay attention to?
Well, absolutely. And I'm on it because, we nourish our outer beauty from the inside. And so running a company that's helping people who want to look beautiful, they want to have the right colors on their lips and so on, that's great. But I realized I could not help them be beautiful if they were eating meat, dairy, soda, or smoking. And so I came up with the idea that, what can we help them to become healthier on the inside? And so we came up with 2 products. One is based on the carotenoids. I wish people understood the carotenoids. Your medical professionals and you probably do understand the carotenoids. They are the most important nutrients for the skin. Their story is fantastic. This is beta carotene from carrots. So what makes a carrot orange? Lycopene in tomatoes. What makes a tomato red? The yellow from marigolds, or it comes from spinach. That's lutein. And your body knows through its own intelligence, when you ingest the carotenoids, it takes them right to the areas that are most exposed to the sun, the tip of your nose and your eyes. Isn't that interesting? And of course, it delivers it up and down your body, but right under the skin. So if you do, skin tests, and there are some that test for levels of carotenoids in the skin. So we made a supplement that is a bright red, beautiful drink, tastes delicious. And that is, you take it and it is your inner shield, your protection from the elements. So just the way a flamingo is pink, or a lobster is pink, or a salmon is pink, it's being protected from the sun. We can follow that, exactly what nature's story tells us to do is follow what nature does by observing all the birds and animals around us. And so by them taking the carotenoids, they're an example to us. We take the carotenoids, the same thing. We don't turn pink, but if you do eat enough of them, you'll turn orange. Your mother always said, if you eat too many carrots, your hands will turn orange, and if it will. But that's
proof.
That's
actually true, because I've had a friend that I went to medical school with, and he loves carrot juice, and he had to be careful because he actually would turn orange. And yeah, no, I agree with you. The phytonutrients and the antioxidants are just so potent in the plant kingdom that, they've done studies and surveys just testing for this, and plants in general have 64 times more antioxidants than, animal-based. And even if you take an iceberg lettuce, right, it actually still has more actual antioxidants, because we typically think of them as just all water, right? And so it still has more oxidants than most of the common, meat base. So you have a drink from it. Do you put any of this in your skincare line? Or I guess going back to the question, how does your skincare differ from what is out there conventionally?
Oh, it radically differs. We took those same nutrients that are so precious, the bright reds, oranges, and yellows, and we encapsulated them in trillions of tiny spheres made of lecithin. So, a trillion of them could fit on the edge of your fingernail, your pinky nail. And so those go into the jars of cream. And because of that, they're protected. So, they're not going up into the atmosphere. And so they get delivered with every application of the cream onto your skin. The liposomes deliver them deeper into the skin. And so you have a better chance of actually getting benefit from nutrients. Whereas, typical creams just throw some vitamin E in it, yell very loudly that their cream is a vitamin E cream, and people think that's good enough. I don't think that's good enough. So I took these top of the line, very important nutraceuticals with a wonderful story for anti-aging, for benefiting from the effects of the environment, and put them in encapsulation, then in the cream. It's a much better product.
Let's talk about your broth brand. And before formulating it to what it is, because I think it's newer out of the lineup that you have, can you talk about this rage that we have with animal bone broth? And, what is the common misconceptions that we're all, going through, thinking that, by drinking, bone broth, it does X, Y, and Z. Can you elucidate, some of this for us?
The animal bone broth is a phenomenon that I do understand. However, it is a mass delusion. Scientists at King's College in London back in the 1950s took veal bones and boiled them for hours, tested the water, and discovered there's nothing in it. There's no minerals. They're just traces. There's a little bit of collagen in it, which is a very poor source of protein because it's very low in amino acids. But through extensive marketing and influencers, telling people that this stuff is great, it's the modern day snake oil. And people think they're soothing their stomachs, they're helping their joints, they think they're filling in their wrinkles because they're drinking collagen. But what's really happening is your body's breaking down this little bit of collagen that's in the animal bone broths, and it's putting the amino acids anywhere it needs it. It can put it in your foot, into your elbow. Body doesn't say, oh, I've got this collagen, I'm going to put it into wrinkles. It doesn't do that. It's not how it thinks. So it's kind of it's just a fad that's harming animals, killing the rainforest, and not giving any benefits to our human family. And then there's the issue of heavy metals. They're saying that some tests are showing there's lead in the products because the animals accumulate these heavy metals, and then, of course, we go ahead and eat them. So it's not a good idea.
And formulating your broth, which I had the pleasure of sampling, and I actually use myself, how did you go about making this?
Well, first of all, I have some right here. Let's see, can you see it?
Move it up a little bit. Oh, there you are. Oh, wow. You put some noodles and ramen into it?
And some broccoli. So, and here's what it looks like.
There you go.
So this is the no-brainer product of the century, in a sense. It's a highly concentrated powder, which tastes delicious, that actually does deliver the minerals and protein that people think they're getting from animal bone broth that they're not. So this product, people ask me, well, where are the nutrients coming from? If you're not using bones, and, in the beginning, I was just grabbing vegans and getting them and throwing them in the pot and getting all their bones, but that wasn't going to last forever. So I turned to seaweed. Where do we get minerals from? From the sea.
Actually, a funny story. Back in the day when Cup of Noodles and the famous ramen brand came about, when I was in college, they had this one flavor called the Oriental flavor. And I was like, oh, they threw some of my brothers in there. So I was like, this doesn't make sense at all. So I appreciate that. So go ahead, seaweed.
Right. It's counterintuitive, but it works, and it's the direction we all need to go in. So the sea is the source of all life. Seaweed grows fast. It nourishes the plankton, the sea animals, the fish, and it nourishes us, and there's plenty for all of us. It's loaded with just the right combinations of minerals, because I trust Mother Nature. Mother Nature made us, Mother Nature made seaweed. We fit together. So, there's a wonderful company, or at least probably more than one, that's gathering up this seaweed in sustainable ways in water that's as pure as they can find. I mean, that's something we all have to work on, is cleaning up our oceans. But the seaweed is quite pure still. And it's just naturally 25% calcium, 5% magnesium, and then all the minerals that go to support that in the body, 72 trace minerals, are all part of the product naturally. So that's, a beautiful thing, especially because we're not getting the minerals that we should be getting from land vegetables, because conventional farming has so depleted the soil with all their machinations and their tilling and their chemicals and their, pushing for production. It's all falling apart now.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So we turn to the sea while farmers get their act together and start to do regenerative farming, making sure the soil is rich in the proper bacteria, so it's mineral rich again. So this product uses this plant from the sea as well as plant protein. It's got 12 grams of protein. It's extremely filling, and it's delicious. It also has soothers. Why not? We put some soothers for people's joints. That's why they're drinking animal bone broth, because they think it's soothing their joints. Or they're taking collagen in their coffee, thinking that if they take from a slaughterhouse the collagen that comes from skin and bones, that's, both skin and bones, into these collagen powders, putting that in their coffee or whatever, it's the same principle. It's not working. The body breaks it down. And so we offer alternatives that have a better philosophy and better science. So they're not toxic, and they actually deliver what they're supposed to do. Then we can talk about the stress relief, because that's the other benefit. I think that's why people are drinking so much of this bone broth. They think it reminds them of their grandmother's chicken soup.
For sure. I'm a big soup guy myself. So, that's how I got drawn to the broth. In terms of the waters, you said that you try to find as pure as possible. If you don't mind me asking, where, which waters, because to me, I just feel like the entire 60% of our planet is increasingly just being trashed. A lot of heavy metals, plastics. Now we found plastics in the deepest part of our ocean, the Mariana Trench. And now we've found microplastics in human beings now. So I mean, I'm very curious to hear where did you source it? And, did you also test them for heavy metals as well before actually, using to make your broth?
Yes. This particular seaweed I think it's called a laminaria. It comes from Iceland. So there's not a lot of industry up there, but frankly, it's going to be more and more difficult unless we stop totally burning coal and pumping heavy metals out into the atmosphere. So that's, companies are doing their best. Nobody wants heavy metals in their products, but how do you get them out? Yeah. So right now, ours are tested. So far, so good. And I'm happy with it.
So did you have a third party come and test everything?
Yes, everything's tested. Oh, every batch is tested. Yes.
Awesome. That's good to hear, because I agree with you. One of the things that conventional medicine doesn't really pay attention to as much is really how toxic our environment is. And, my colleagues that we all practice lifestyle medicine, and I know there's other alternatives, integrative docs, functional medicine docs, we pay attention, pay attention to them as well. So it is becoming increasingly very important to really understand what kind of other stressors we have for the body, not just nutrition. So, Sally, just paying attention to time, I really appreciate this conversation. Going back to the animal testing, and made me think about, I live in California, and in 2020 and 23, we've had a bill that got passed in terms of not having animal testing within the state of California, as well as no out-of-state companies to be able to sell cosmetics that have been tested to be sold in California. So I know for my state, that's been very progressive, and we are making changes, and I'm hoping that we can continue to expand upon this. Is there any last minute thoughts that you want to share with our audience members? And what are you currently wanting to share or promote with our audience right now?
Yeah, so I am seeking to collaborate with healthcare professionals who want to help their patients. I have created this fantastic system with the Boon Broth called the Boon Broth Gut Reset, and we also have a gut and skin reset. Very simple, because I know 95% of people are sick, and they're also still eating 3 meals a day of animal meat, chicken, fish, or dairy. So what I am suggesting is that if we ask our patients, for me, my customers, to simply replace 1 meat or dairy meal a day with a Boon Broth meal, something that's delicious and nutritious, right? Like this product, they will start to have better energy, better focus. They'll be able to get to their ideal weight. Their skin will improve because they'll start to eliminate these toxic substances that come from meat and dairy and replace them with what they may not know how to do so easily. So instead of going out and getting a plant-based burger, which might still have 1,000 calories, here we have a beautiful bowl of soup. You can add noodles, rice, veggies, tofu. Just don't do like my niece does and add chicken, but right, put other wonderful things in it. And we also give a lovely guide that's fun with beautiful photos and recipes, easy to do recipes. I know everyone's busy. I know everyone's daunted. Everyone knows that they need to add more plant-based items to their diet. They know they have to do it. Everyone's saying it. The Heart Association, the Diabetes Association, osteoporosis, everyone's saying it. But actually doing it is not, it has to happen now, because we have to heal ourselves, we have to save animals, and we have to heal the planet. So I say, let's do it. 1 Boon Broth bowl a meal. That's it. Just 1 a day. That's it. And that's my suggestion. And I'd love to work with health professionals who want to recommend it to their clients, because we have a program that we can do to help them do that on a regular basis.
Awesome. Well, Sally, thank you so much, for coming here on the show. We'll be sure to include all those links and information in the show notes when this airs, and keep up the good work. I know that this has been a very passionate period of time for you as you kind of transitioned, shared your story, and created these wonderful companies. And I wish you and your company massive success in terms of, being able to heal the world 1 Boon Broth at a time. So thank you so much for coming here onto the show.
My pleasure. Can't do this without you.
Guys, if you enjoyed this, please like, comment, and subscribe. And if you feel that this was a benefit for someone else, please let them know. And until the next episode, please say goodbye to Sally. Bye.
Bye.
Hey guys, we hope you enjoy that episode. If you like that, please like, comment, and subscribe. And please follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, and anywhere that you listen to your podcasts. And if you felt that this was a benefit for someone else, please let them know. And also remember that the first 5 seasons, 150 episodes, now can be seen and heard on our new TheChefDoc app. And don't forget to give us a 5-star rating, and we greatly appreciate it. And we'll see you on the next one.